You know what happened in Paris 8 years ago. A handball destroyed the Republic of Ireland's hopes of qualifying for the 2010 World Cup, forcing us to watch the tournament which sounded like an angry beehive on TV. So with the Republic up against Denmark this time around, let's take a look back at the starting lineup from that night in Paris. Shay Given, a legend for club and country, well not so much Stoke City. Shay Given carved out a fine career as one of the Premier League's top goalies, despite being shorter than the Lannister dwarf. Bit of an exaggeration, but at 6 foot 1 inch, he's not exactly one of the tallest. He left Newcastle 2 months after France Gate, getting fed up with the monkeys in charge of the club and spent 18 months as Man City's #1 goalkeeper. He then moved to Aston Villa in 2012, had his confidence shattered after shipping 9 goals at Euro 2012, and slid into bench warming obscurity until finally calling it a day at the age of 41. John O'Shea. You might have thought John O'Shea's biggest achievement in life was nutmegging Luis Figo or smashing home a last minute winner at Anfield. I'd argue it's the fact that he's managed to last 6 years in Sunderland's defence without giving up on life entirely. Having spent 11 years at Old Trafford, he signed for the Black Cats in 2011. Let's be honest, his legs are gone and he could well be playing League 1 football next year, but the 116 cap man is still reporting for international duty at the age of 36. If only he hadn't been subbed off for Paul McShane in Paris that night, we might have actually cleared the ball. Sean St. Ledger. Where's Sean St. Ledger? Good question. It was only a few years ago the man was scoring against Italy, notching Euro 2012, the only Irishman to do so. Now St. Ledger, the man who stares awkwardly at his feet anytime the national anthem comes on, has basically seen his career fall off a cliff. The former Preston defender took in non-existent spells at Leicester City, Ipswich Town, Orlando City, Colorado Rapids, Huddersfield Town, and has now ended up at semi-professional side Solihull Moors alongside Darren Carter, where they no doubt reminisce about the time in their careers where they weren't forced to get changed out the back of a pub still stinking of last night's piss. Richard Dunn, a legend of Irish football whose morning diet consists of cornflakes, eggs and a handful of Russians, the 4-time player of the year at Man City, despite scoring about 6 own goals a season, was a rock for the Republic, and City's decision to chuck him off to Aston Villa because they needed the money was laughable. He retired in 2015 at QPR and currently works as a pundit. Kevin Kilbane, often underappreciated during his playing days, the well-travelled Kevin Kilbane, well, he saw the likes of Preston, Sunderland, Wigan and Hull, it was hardly the Alps, was a proud servant for the Republic, 110 caps. He left Hull City in 2012, signing for Coventry, where he hung up the boots and now works as a pundit. Liam Lawrence, a man once involved in a Sunderland sex tape and who later got injured falling over his dog. You would be forgiven for coming to the assumption Liam Lawrence wasn't the brightest tool in the box. I hope his bedroom stamina lasted longer than his international career. He was only around for 15 caps. The former Stoke City wideman is like that aging old man struggling to come to terms with the fact that he's no longer 19 years old. For the last 8 years he's been disappointing fans worldwide, taking the Liam Lawrence brand from Portsmouth to Cardiff to PAOK Salonika, the Barnsley, Shrewsbury, Bristol Rovers and now Russell Olympic. Just give it up, Liam. Shopping with the wife on Saturday afternoons can't be that painful. Glenn Whelan. I can't think of too many players who've split opinion across the nation more than Glenn Whelan during his career. In some people's eyes he's a necessary evil, a workhorse who'll do a job. To others, the man can barely control a football and should give every one of his caps back to the FAI with interest. To be fair, the former Man City man, when they were poor settled down, lasted 9 years at Stoke, has played over 80 times for his country and is now at Aston Villa in the Championship. Keith Andrews. Keith Andrews received his first cap relatively late, but he went on to be a useful player for the Republic. Let's call a spade though. He barely scraped Premier League standard. He saw Blackburn relegated, couldn't cut it at either West Brom or Bolton, and retired 2 years ago. He now works as a pundit. Damien Duff. Now we're talking. One of the driving forces that terrified the French defence that night, and to be fair, he should have put a chance away before the Henry handball. Damien Duff is one of the greatest Irish players of all time, with 100 caps to his name. He left his Newcastle nightmare behind and enjoyed a new lease of life at Fulham, even reaching the Europa League final. Somehow. He had a short stint in Australia before pitching up at Shamrock Rovers in 2015 and quickly realising it was a terrible mistake. Again, he's a pundit but has one eye on coaching. Kevin Doyle. Kevin Doyle is basically the Shane Long of 10 years ago. He'll work hard, run his socks off, but Jesus, you'll be waiting about 5 years before he actually gets a shot on target. Maybe I'm being harsh, 14 goals and 64 caps isn't that bad, although how he managed to spread that out over 11 years is anybody's guess. Was the pool really that thin that we were still calling up a lad who was scoring 5 goals a season in the MLS? He's been netting a 1 in 5 average for the last 8 years, and recently hung up his boots after getting smashed in the head too many times. I mean, it was when Dabo still carried on. Robbie Keane, Ireland's greatest goal scorer by far, 68 goals is just insane. Since 2009 he's played for Tottenham, Celtic, it was his dream you know, West Ham, LA Galaxy, Aston Villa and now he's pitched up at another boyhood club in Atletico del Kolkata, where he gets to be coached by Teddy Sheringham and play alongside Jussi Jääskeläinen, Tom Thorpe and Shefki Kuchi's brother. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.